Hi, everybody. I wanted to talk to you today about case studies. I hope I don't get confused and say care plans. I don't mean care plans, I mean case studies. When I first started nursing school, these were a little hard for me, and I think it's really because you're given a scenario, and up until nursing school starts, you kind of deal with black and white facts, the human heart works like this because, well, now it's going to be this is happening with the heart, what could be causing it, what kind of signs and symptoms are you going to see, what's the patient going to look like, and all things like that. So that's where case studies can actually help you out a lot. You can ask your instructors for some. There are tons of them I'm sure, in every single textbook that you have, and every chapter. There's usually towards the end where questions are given at the end of a chapter, there's usually a case study, and sometimes the case studies are like in the center, in the middle of the chapter. But what it is it just gives you a scenario of a patient coming in or something. You check on a patient, and it's giving you information. Sometimes you get a lot and sometimes you don't get enough. And then there's questions, and you have to answer the questions based on what you know about the disease or disorder or problem, and by what information you're given. And like I said, in the beginning, it could probably be a little frustrating and things, but trust me, this will help you learn a process, a disease, even down to the medications and the labs and the diagnostic testing. It just really helps you learn the ins and the outs of it. And I didn't really fully understand that until this semester. We've only been in class for a couple of weeks, but we've done at least 6 or 7. Sometimes we do them in a group in class. So we were given ectopic pregnancy. I'm in maternity, so that was my group's topic. And then it was broken down into the patho of it, the signs and symptoms of it, the nursing interventions you're going to do, the outcomes that you're hoping to see, and then you had to come up with other things that could go wrong, and labs you might want to do, and meds that they might get. So it really, and what we did was everybody just took a section. You could all do it together as a group, each section, or you can everybody take a piece, find their part, and at the end come and talk about your parts and fill it in. And that's to help with team collaboration and just, getting to know your classmates and working together, and that's great and all. But I have to tell you, when I do them at home by myself, and I'm having to look up each and every section, it just really, really makes a lot of sense. It also will get a little easier as your knowledge base grows, once you start understanding lab values, and once you're actually in the clinical setting and maybe you've seen someone with COPD, or you've seen someone with after a stroke or whatever, or you've been in labor and delivery and you've seen a placenta previa, something like that. Sometimes when you see it in clinical setting, that's when it makes sense, even though you may have already learned it in the classroom. But the case studies can be somewhat intimidating because you're like, man, I don't have enough information. But that's what's going to happen if someone comes into the hospital sick, or your clinic, or you're out and about and someone drops or whatever. It's up to you to see and come up with something just based on what you're given. And that's nursing, and that's medical, and that's just a way to train your brain. But don't run from them, run to them, because they can really, really help you start training your brain to think that way. And actually, I love them now. I think they're fun. I think they're fun. So, I just wanted to talk to you about that. Like I said, you can Google them. You can, if you're in pediatrics, pediatric case studies or cardiac case study examples or guides or whatever. And like I said, ask your instructors, because I'm sure that they, if not them, somebody that they work with has case studies that you can just practice with. But that's just another way to really reinforce the information you're learning. Now, I suggest reading your chapter first, maybe. But but everything just keeps pulling back from even from the basics of fundamentals and stuff, you know. None of that goes away. It just continues to build and build and build with each other and on each other, and it all just kind of comes and makes full circle. So even though you might see something in med-surg, you could see it again in peds, you can see it again in mental health even. You know, you're going to have mental health issues with a patient maybe that's in for having, I don't know, a hysterectomy or something, you know. You're just going to see everything everywhere. So the more comfortable you are and the more you start learning and knowing and remembering lab values, diagnostic tests, pharmacology, and that pharmacology is the hardest part of it all for me. But the more you see it in the hospital, it really, really does stick. Med-surg is the best place because you see almost the same meds often enough to where you know what it's for, you know what to look for, you know what to assess for prior to giving it, you know what to assess for after giving it, and what to do in case something goes up or down. So, you know, you just get better at that. But one way to do that is with the case studies. So that's all I really wanted to say. They have really been a help for me so far this semester, really helping me understand. I'm in the complicated labor and delivery problems, you know, preeclampsia, eclampsia, ectopic pregnancies, things like that. And breaking it all down, learning the physiology of it, meaning what is it, you know, why, what kind of risk factors are there to getting it? What kind of signs and symptoms would you see in your patient? What kind of lab values do you want to look at when they come back? If they're high or low, why do you think they're high or low? What meds are we going to give, you know, maybe for the edema or for the, I don't know, prophylactically to prevent seizure activity, you know, things like that. It just really helps. I know I keep saying that. It just really, really does. So I hope everyone's enjoying their semester, and mine's going really well. I love maternity. Was supposed to have clinical this week, but we've had snow, so I'll have to wait until next week to see the babies being born. Hopefully we'll see some babies born. And I have heard back from so many people that have gotten my nursing Bible that I've talked about a couple videos ago. And forgive me, what's her name? Pretty Shiny Things or Shiny Things? I'm sorry, sweet girl. I have a lot of people that you know, talk to me daily. But anyway, she got with me yesterday and said the day that I talked about that book, she bought it. And she had her very first test of the semester day before yesterday, and she used that book, and she said she tested very, very well. And she was just surprised when she took the test. So I'm guessing what was on the test, what was in the book, or it was enough to where she could figure out. So I'm glad you did well. My first exam of the semester is tomorrow, so I should get back to studying. But anyway, let me know how your semester's going. And it's been crazy weather all over the place. So please drive safely and keep in touch, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.